Angela Pate is the Executive Director of FloridaWorks, the workforce board for Alachua and Bradford counties. She has been in the workforce industry for over 10 years. She has a degree from the College of Architecture and Fine Arts from the University of Florida and pursued postgraduate studies in structural engineering and architectural studies at UF and the Georgia Institute of Technology. She also has a Master of Science degree in entrepreneurship from the University of Florida College of Business. She has served on several local boards, including the Alachua County Coalition for the Homeless and Hungry, the Downtown Redevelopment Advisory Board, and the Poverty Reduction Advisory Board. Ms. Pate also has over 25 years' experience in architecture and construction industries and in software and hardware development. Welcome, Angela.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
I looked back, and I guess it was April of 2008 when we last talked, and I know you've been quite busy since then. Want to talk a little bit about these last 2.5 years, but before we dive into that, for those folks who perhaps are not familiar with FloridaWorks or didn't see the first interview, can you give us just a broad overview of what FloridaWorks does?
Sure. FloridaWorks is the Alachua Bradford Regional Workforce Board, and we serve the workforce development needs and the business needs for workforce in both Alachua and Bradford counties. And the board is 37 members of community leaders, public officials, college presidents, economic development leaders, plus the leaders of all of the social service agencies focusing on different populations in the community. And 51% of the board are business owners. So it's a business-driven board of directors who advise and create the policy for how our federal tax dollars are spent in investment into our community to train people and help people become employed, and most importantly to raise their skill levels to where our economy and our businesses require them to be in order to grow.
And in this time when so much of the political discourse is all about jobs, all about employment.
Yes, much different than 2.5 years ago.
That's right, and certainly that is your mission. You mentioned federal dollars. You're funded almost strictly by
Correct.
Federal. Is that correct?
Mostly Department of Labor and Health and Human Services funds.
And tell me a little bit about what's been going on since April of 2008.
At that time, we always kind of characterize it by saying that if you could fog a mirror, we could get you a job. The demand was so high, and the economy was so, at a fevered pitch almost, that we could not find the talent that we needed for the employer's needs. And our entire effort was focused on raising the skill levels of the people that were available to be hired. We have done a 180 from that now, after the recession of our lifetime, many of us, and now we have a tremendously skilled out-of-work population with PhDs, masters, bachelors, even MDs and JDs. As well as the entire spectrum of people at the lower ends of the educational scale. So the world is completely different for us. We are now focusing on how to be creative with not only training to help people get certifications and knowledge of emerging industries and areas that will be growth in the future, both short-term and long-term, but also focusing much more on working with our community partners in job creation. And that includes not just our economic development partners, but the University of Florida. We are now working much more closely with their resources there that are engaged in creating companies and jobs. their Office of Technology Licensing, their Entrepreneurship College, engineering, things that are spurring new growth. And we're focusing on supporting those efforts and being engaged in those discussions much more than we were in the past.
The Florida Back to Work program.
Yes.
I know that was funded by federal stimulus dollars?
It was through Health and Human Services. Those were TANF funds. TANF stands for Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, which are typically thought of as funds that pay welfare participants or fund the welfare system. And what we did was take that money and apply it, as did the rest of the state of Florida. We did a great program in Florida to supplement salaries for employers who were unable to expand or grow because the economy was so bad that they didn't have funding, couldn't get loans for company growth or business growth. So we subsidized employment, literally paid salaries for people to be hired by those employers, which was an economic boon to the employer and the job seeker. And we found such skill levels in eligible people for those programs. Not that they were going on welfare, but they were eligible to. So instead of doing that, we were able to put them to work.
I know the county participated in that
Yes, they
program,
did.
and I think the city of Gainesville.
Largest employer, the county.
Oh, is
I
that
believe.
right? But was it private and public?
It was private and
organizations?
public, nonprofits, for-profits. It was a wide array of businesses. I think we had, off the top of my head, about 127 businesses. About a third of them, no, half of the employers actually kept people on after the program ended.
Oh, is that right?
And about between a quarter and a third of the people that we put in the program managed to maintain their jobs after the program ended.
That's excellent.
Yeah, it was really a positive program. We did extremely well in our region, comparable to some of the larger regions in South Florida. We were very proactive, and I have to thank Randy Reed and the county for the tremendous support and help in mobilizing all of the public agencies in the community and the nonprofits to engage in the program quickly and efficiently. And all the employers were putting up with how hard that program was.
Right. Well, I remember it was quite complicated.
It was. And it was
certainly-
short-term, and it took a lot of commitment from the community. But
Well,
it
and
was
certainly
very
the work that
successful.
you all did was commendable. Do you know the numbers? How many people were hired? How much money passed through? Or?
306 people were hired altogether. Total salaries to those people was approached $2 million.
Wow.
We had a lot more available to us, and we had 700 jobs available. And this is a point that is important for everyone to realize. The skill levels of the people still, and the ability to match them to the employer was difficult.
Right.
So even in a time when you have so many people out of work with high levels of education, that doesn't necessarily mean they have the match for the skills that the employers need. And that, in a 6-month period, which was the entire length of the program, we only managed to get a little under half of those jobs filled, which was not nearly as much as we had hoped, but certainly better than none.
Well, the whole effort was remarkable, particularly considering that 6-month
Yeah.
total time frame.
And I will put a plug in that it has passed the House at the federal level for continuing that program. The Senate now, it sits in their court to see if they will extend it. It's not likely, but if they did, that program would come back and continue to spur economic growth and company growth and employment and create jobs, which is what our economy needs more than anything.
You had some interesting youth programs, I know, in this time
did.
frame that we're talking about.
We did. We had some tremendous stimulus-funded youth programs. This last summer, we had about 250 youth in the community, which is about our normal number, going through our program. The summer before that, when the first stimulus money came through, we had 480 youth in both Alachua and Bradford County. And that summer, we also managed to create a solar installation technology program in partnership with the Alachua County School Board, held it down at Lofton. Dr. Dave Edwards, who's the Director of Career and Technical Education, was instrumental in helping us do that, along with some of our local employers. We had a great energy auditing program that Santa Fe College ran with us to teach youth about energy auditing and carbon bank accounting. We've worked with a local employer here, the International Carbon Bank Exchange, for carbon bank accounting, and they worked on a project for the county, I believe, doing a footprint of the water management system, taught the kids about not only the technology of how to use spreadsheets and work, but it was the first time they ever got to work with UF researchers and professors and people that are not typically in their realm of exposure. We also did a great project in digital media with Santa Fe College, where they created several videos of all the different projects and taught kids a lot about communications and media and technology. So it was a great program of exposing kids at the highest risk of dropping out, very, very low income, very high barriers in school, and getting them exposed to opportunities and technologies and worlds that they had just never seen before.
Well, and hopefully those technologies and those new green kind of jobs will start materializing. Yeah.
We have some really exciting ones coming up, too.
Really?
In the youth program, we're in the middle of planning right now for a project we're calling Tech Quest, which is going to be a video game-like quest across town to different employers in high-tech fields, where the kids go and become exposed to what these new technologies are that are coming out of UF and these inventions and innovations. And they go about it in terms of a quest where there are teams and they compete against each other, and it's like an across the community it's probably going to end up be about 3 to 4 month game or engagement. So we're real excited about that. The kids should walk out of it with an iPad or a notebook. We're still deciding on hardware. So they get some technology, training how to use it, collaborative skills, team building skills, introduction to technology. We're hoping it really affects their reading scores and their basic fundamental skill levels, and we'll be testing them before and after to see if we can excite them into learning. So we're really excited about that new coming program.
Great idea to use it in the game format.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, I want to get back to what you do on a regular basis. Do you have a handle on how many jobs are available in Alachua County, Bradford County at any given time? Do people report those numbers to you?
We know, yes, we do. And they're actually on the front page of our website, on FloridaWorksOnline.com. We have listed the number of jobs in the system and the number of people looking for jobs. Every month, that number is updated. And the EmployFlorida.com state job system, employment system, is the website that you can go to register yourself as a job seeker or as an employer to post your jobs. Even if you post your jobs on your own website or on Career Builder or Monster or any of the other places or in the newspaper digitally, the EmployFlorida.com system goes and spiders them into and aggregates them in. So we do know how many jobs are available at any given point in our community, theoretically. Now, it's not a perfect science. Sometimes there's some duplicates and so forth, but relatively speaking, we're pretty close to that number all the time. Right now, we're running in the range of 1,100 to 1,500 to 2,000 on a good month jobs, which is up 1,000 jobs from what it was, say, a year to a year and a half ago.
Well, that's good news.
Yes, we are getting more jobs in the system. On the same side, we have roughly 13,000 people unemployed now, whereas we used to have about 4,000.
Is that in the two counties
Alachua
combined?
and Bradford County combined. Of course, the majority of them being in Alachua County. But it's a lot more people unemployed and a lot less jobs than we used to have in the past. But it's improving, and it's projected to be a slow and steady growth. Florida is actually projected to be, from what I've researched and what we know of, the #1 state in the nation in terms of the rate of job growth between now and 2018 at about 3%, which is not a very high job growth. But the whole country is going to be relatively low, and we're leading at 3%. So it's going to be a very gradual, very slow recovery, and that's something that people need to come to grips with. The jobs that were here before are most likely not coming back. The jobs are shifting and changing to higher skill levels, different skill levels, and there will need to be a retraining or a shift of focus for job seekers going into the future.
And of the 13,000 some odd unemployed people in this area, are many people taking advantages of the services you provide?
Indeed. We saw last year, I believe, about 31,000 people
Is that right?
used our services in some manner. Of course, a lot of them were employed, and people shift, throughout the year. Sometimes they're not, sometimes they are. The 13,000 are the people that are currently on unemployment compensation benefits. So there are more than that actually unemployed that aren't on benefits, that either didn't bother to claim or have hardly anybody's gone off since the extensions have been continuing. But yeah, and that number of over 30,000 includes people who just use the computer system. They don't necessarily walk in our doors.
Right.
But we have a large percentage of the population actively engaged in our processes, and all of them are welcome to come in the door.
One thing that we talked about a couple of years ago, and I thought I'd get an update, is the Green Ride program.
Yeah.
Is that up and running? And
It is.
How's it doing?
It's doing well. The users are in about 380.
And for the folks at home, can you just give
Yes.
us a quick update on what
Let me
Green
see if I
Ride
can get
is?
the FloridaWorks.greenride.com. I have all my websites memorized. FloridaWorks.greenride.com is a website that we have up for ride sharing to help people conserve on transportation costs. We know that it costs usually in the range of $3,000 to $5,000 a year by the time you include gas, the price of the car, insurance, maintenance, everything related to what it takes to drive, if you drive to work 30 miles away.
Right.
And if you are employed and making, $20,000, $25,000, $28,000 a year, and you take $5,000 off for transportation costs, sometimes it's a barrier so big that people can't take the job. So we have bus passes, gas cards for participants in our program, and the ride sharing is another transportation support that we can give. A lot of people use it who are high income earners. It's environmentally, conscious. It's cost saving. It's just a great benefit. UF also has a ride sharing system. They use the same one we do, and it's focused on UF staff and students. And then we've opened one up for the rest of the community. Of course, anybody, including UF,
Sure.
can use it for Alachua and Bradford County at our website.
And there's no cost?
No
for this
cost.
service?
It's free. It's secure and confidential. You go in and you put in your contact information. Nobody can get to it. And they can email you in the system only. They don't even know your email address. And then you can decide if you want to meet them. Talk. You can communicate back and forth via email or phone number if you want to give them your phone number. Meet in some neutral place. Decide if you want to ride. A lot of people think it's strange to be riding in a car with someone you don't know. And the point that we make is that it's like when you join the Girl Scouts or Cub Scouts and you put your children with people you don't know.
Right.
I mean, you're out in the public, you're interacting with people, so you have to make your own choices about when you meet someone if you feel comfortable with being with them.
And you'll know them soon enough.
And you'll know them soon enough.
Right.
And,
Well, for those that are listening that are considering taking advantage of your services, why don't we kind of walk down the list? I know that you have career counselors and case managers, so I walk in the door. What do you do with me?
Well, the first thing that we do is find out what you want. There are many reasons why people walk in the door. So if you have specific needs, like you want to apply for unemployment compensation, or you want a job search, or you want to hire someone, we triage you, so to speak, or kind of screen you at the front desk to see what your needs are. And then depending on those needs, we will route you to the the correct place. So for example, if you're an employer, we'll refer you to our business services team, and they'll discuss all of the services available to employers in terms of posting their jobs, pre-screening their people, job fairs, all kinds of benefits that employers can get for hiring certain populations, like someone with disabilities or ex-offenders, and the kind of accommodations and bonding and things that are available for those. So we have an array of services for employers.
I see.
And then for job seekers, we look at, generally speaking, we start with what are you looking to do, what is your education level, to determine in which direction to route you. If you have a college degree and you're a professional, we'll route you to our Connect group, which is a weekly gathering of professionals that meet directly with HR directors all over the counties, in both counties, for assisting with placement. If you need training to get into a specific occupation that you are trying to get into and you're lacking a specific credential or something, then we'll route you into our programs that provide training, such as WIA for Workforce Investment Act or TANF, if you're TANF eligible. If you simply want to look for a job and maybe need some assistance with your resume or interview skills, or you want a referral to a particular employer, then we'll route you in that direction. We have a resource room there and all kinds of professionals to help you just do job matching and connection. So it depends on what you need.
Yeah. That was quite an answer. Serve
everybody.
One of the challenges that folks have, I think, particularly when they're unemployed and finances are tight, is keeping all these resources going, like the internet and computers and all of those things. You all have hands-on rooms where people can go in and use that stuff. Yeah,
we have resource rooms in both one-stop career centers that people can come in, and people there to help them go through all of the processes related to the employment services. Also, the libraries are great resources, as you know, for computers, and we're starting to work much more closely with them now in outreaching and getting our services available in the libraries. That's something that we're going to be expanding this year quite a bit.
I noticed that I see your FloridaWorks banner around town, so I know you do a number of job fairs.
We do, all kinds of events, job fairs.
Do you have good success with those? Or?
We do. Even in the tight economy, we've had some really successful events. We had one recently where we had staffing companies, all the different staffing companies in town, because right now in this economy, a lot of employers aren't hiring themselves full-time positions. They're hiring temporary positions through staffing companies because of the uncertainty. So we wanted to maximize the exposure of the staffing companies to those out of work and with the skills that they need. So we created job fairs to connect the job seekers to the staffing companies. But we often have job fairs for vets or specific populations. And we have other events besides job fairs, often workshops, strategy plans, focus groups, of course committees and board meetings, but those banners are around wherever we are. We've had some great workshops over on campus in the past couple months on entrepreneurial training, ideation and creation seminars, and marketing feasibility studies, and even SBIR grant writing, and we've had our banners out for those, so we get around.
Yeah, well, I would certainly encourage anyone who's looking for work or looking to change jobs to take advantage of your services. You mentioned training. Do you have dollars available, depending on the qualification of the person applying?
Yes. The dollars that we get from the federal level are for training and placement services. So we put a lot of people in training. We're focusing in our region on health-related occupations.
Makes sense.
We also do focus on green technology training, although jobs are not as plentiful in that area. The first to admit that, but we know that from an economic development perspective, if you train the workforce, the business comes. So we are investing in that area for people who are interested in going into those areas. A lot of construction people are moving in that direction, both employed and unemployed. And we're focusing on the emerging technologies of biotech, other areas that we know are the future.
And you have partners in those training programs? Or do you
We
do
do.
the
We work
training
very,
yourself?
no, the workforce system does not do training itself by federal law.
I see.
We work with existing training providers, both private and public. Our biggest training provider by far, and our closest partner, I say constantly, they really are the heart of our community, is Santa Fe College.
Right.
They do a tremendous job for us, customizing training to exactly what we need, whenever we need it. And I can't begin to speak of how much that improves our services and what a big part of our community and our workforce services that is. In addition to that, we're working more closely with UF all the time, more so now than ever, and other training providers in different specific niche areas. You know, we have midwifery school is the North Florida Regional, now I was on the board of that organization, North Florida.
You're doing too many things.
Yeah,
then,
too many
right?
things to keep it all together.
It's a board that has to do with midwives.
The birth center and the midwifery school here in town, we put people through that program. We put people through automotive programs, truck driving programs, you know, different kinds of occupations.
You also mentioned, can you actually apply for unemployment at FloridaWorks, or do you just help people navigate through that system?
You can
or?
apply for it at home.
Oh, okay.
On the web. Sometimes people come in and need assistance, and we provide that access and that assistance for them.
I know you also do special work with veterans.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that a little bit?
We have several staff dedicated to our vet population. Jim Mash is our leader in that area, and we focus on job matching, training programs, as well as a lot of recognition and community events to honor and support our vets. We work with homeless vets, people with disabilities, everything we can do. They get priority of service in terms of when training dollars run low. If there are 10 people that come in and we only have funding in certain areas for a couple, then we will vets get first priority. So we're very committed to our vet program, and I have to commend them for becoming one of the top in the state over the past 2 years. They are we are very metric driven and performance driven, and we have specific benchmarks, and our vet program is exceeding our benchmarks and excelling in the state every month. So we're very proud of the work they're doing right now.
Well, certainly helping people find jobs is priority number one across the country, and we really appreciate the work you're doing. And see you again in 2 years.
All right.
Okay.
Hopefully sooner.
Thank you for being here.
Welcome to your Alachua County Library District, where we're thinking outside the book. What does the library have for you? DVDs, video software, music CDs, and it's free. Wireless hotspots at every branch, all for free. Friendly assistants, online databases, it's also free. And of course, books on every subject, large print and more, all at the best price, free. The library has free research databases with access from home or the library. The Alachua County Library District, thinking outside the book.